advice are great things, right? Especially if you don't listen to them. And so when I co-founded Easter 7 years ago, I got a lot of advice. And they were advice on why I shouldn't do it. And they kind of boiled down to these 3 topics. So you won't find product market fit, you'll get into conflict with your co-founders, and you'll fail. Okay, so I co-founded Easter in my late 30s after a successful career in the fintech space and capital markets, and I have a background in engineering, physics, and financial math. So I don't scare easily, and I don't shy off a challenge. But this was tough advice to have. So today I hope to tell you a bit about my learnings in the tips, and hopefully inspire you to be more courageous. So, product market fit. This is what it's all about, right? You build the best product, you listen to the needs of your customers and users, and you ship it to them, to the market. And it's really hard to get it right the first time. But the thing here is, by trying and by doing all of those stuff required, you learn so much about the space, about your space, and about the dynamics there. So our original idea was a B2C app for sustainable lifestyles. We were based on ads, so we were gonna build a Facebook for sustainable living and a marketplace for sustainable brands. And it went well at first. We launched national campaigns with WWF, Greta Thunberg happened, the Fridays for Future movement happened, and then COVID happened. So we, of course, noticed the halting of activities, but we knew that climate change wasn't solved, right? So this topic is going to come back. But we also heard something else. We read articles about government's emergency legislation and about vaccine developments in collaboration all over the world. Big actions. And for us, who spent so much time in this space, the similarities were obvious. It became obvious for us how the climate crisis mitigation is going to unfold through our societies. It's going to happen through government and state actions, legislations, and corporates putting new products on a market that has changed. So in this new landscape, a Facebook for sustainable lifestyle seemed very far away. So we decided to do a pivot. And doing a pivot is not a one-day decision. For us, it meant massive work. We had to redo, well, obviously the product and the tech stack, and we had to build up new departments, rethink sales, and rethink our offering from where we had been. Because while we've done all of this work to get to where we were, we had also been working in parallel with companies who had been testing our products and giving us feedback, and they had even paid us to do campaigns with their employees in upskilling them in sustainability and engaging them in the company's sustainability strategy. And all of a sudden, this stream of activities was much more in line with how the market developed. So we switched to B2B and expanded also into retail banking. So my learning here, in order to have a great product market fit, yes, you need to have a great product, but you also need to have a market that's ready for you. And in our case, it was the market signals change that was the strongest. Okay, so now we're down to founder troubles. Very common. So we're 4 founders. We're Swedish-born, we're about the same age. You'd think we'd be like same views, same values, but no, we're very different. And being part of a founder team, it's a very close collaboration, right? We get so intrinsically involved with each other and each other's life priorities. And we actually ended up in an escalating conflict where I was sitting next to one of my co-founders in the sun, and he was going, "This is not fun anymore. I don't want to do this." And we were far ahead already. And these are tough guys, my co-founders. Here they are. And but they are men, so obviously we don't talk about emotions that often. So I took his confession on the bench really seriously. And I proposed a group coaching therapy, right? Didn't say that word. And they agreed. So in the first session, it kind of started a bit hesitantly, but at a provocative question from the coach, it all kind of blew up. But the coach was really fast in turning this around and making us talk about what we want to achieve together and how we enjoy working with each other and why we started this and how we want to be in the world and how we want others to see us, the kind of stuff that we never talked about with each other. So for me, this was a peak learning, how much I enjoyed that experience, but also what influence it had on our relationship and our friendship. So I strongly recommend you to nourish your relationship that you have with your co-founders, and also to speak openly about the emotional layer of startup life. Okay, so now we're down to you'll fail. For any of the other 100 reasons you can fail, right? So we had a tip from an advisor early on. He said, do you know what the first rule of startup is? Do you know what it is? Don't die. Yeah, obviously, right? Because if the startup dies, then nothing more can be tested, nothing more can be tried, it's over. So yeah, of course. We kept it as a kind of a funny mantra between the four of us. But it's also true for us as individuals, of course. Because running a startup is not about talking about your great idea all day, it's the art of getting the 1,000 decisions right that we just heard. And it can be daunting at times. So I'm a pretty hard worker, and throughout my career, I've had these moments where I've had to step down, step back, kind of look at the situation and create strategies for myself, how not to burn out. So I thought I had this covered. But when it's your own baby, your own passion, your own startup, the scenery completely changed. So 2 years into Deedster, I had my first and only panic attack. It was a really scary experience. What's normally a 15-minute walk home took me 2 hours because I couldn't move the feet and I could hardly see anything. So it passed, but it was one of those eye-opening moments. And what I and other founders have realized is that it's super important to dedicate time to take care of yourself, physically and mentally. That is a learning. And it's actually to the point where you schedule time in your calendar to make sure that you take that time. And that you take time for rest and take time to build resilience, because that's key in this game. So, and this is actually us taking dedicated time out of our schedule. So I started out saying that it's great to have advice, but it's even better if you don't follow them, if you don't listen to them, because that means that you heard them and you choose your own path. And I did. I heard I shouldn't go into this, but I did. Because, frankly, startups aren't built to avoid the risk of failure. We build startups on the hope of success and on the hope of creating real impact. And the words that we use to describe our life adventures, be it failure or success, they are ours to choose. We label our experiences. So I encourage you to use the right words, label your experience good, and good luck with your startups.